Howdy, gang, and welcome once again to the Duct Tape Studios. I'm Jeff McAleer, your host here at the Gaming Gang channel. Thanks for joining me once again. Today, I am going to share a first look and page through of the second edition of The Magical Land of Yeld from Atarashi Games. This is written by Nick Smith and Jake Richmond, with artwork provided by Jake Richmond. This 394-page hardcover with PDF carries an MSRP of $60, or you can grab just the PDF alone over at DriveThruRPG for only $12. That's a rocking deal, I must say. All that said, let's swing on over to the other camera because here I've got the second edition of The Magical Land of Yeld. Couple of things to mention before we get stuck in. First of all, the fine folks over at Atarashi Games were kind enough to provide me with this review copy. But neither I nor anyone else affiliated with the Gaming Gang has received any other sort of compensation for me to share this coverage with you. These days, it's very important you know that. We're also not going to look at each and every page of the book, but I do want to give you a really good feel for what you're going to find inside this second edition. All right, let's take a look at the back here. Gather your best friends, your dog, and all of your courage. It's time to go to Yeld. Discover a secret door to a magical land and become young heroes in the Magical Land of Yeld 2nd Edition. Play as children from our world and explore the strange new land of Yeld. Face monsters, discover treasure, and save the people of the magical land from the vampire prince Dragul and his dreaded hunters of Yeld. But beware, children who stay too long in the magical land will eventually become monsters and be trapped in Yeld forever. This is a fantasy role-playing game for all ages, saying 2 to 8 players. I mean, really, as long as you got a game master, it's as many players as they want to take on. So let's jump on inside. Now, you may recall I reviewed the first edition of The Magical Land of Yeld, and I was really impressed. I enjoyed it quite a lot, and I thought it was an absolutely fantastic all-ages fantasy role-playing game that was very unique setting. Of course, it is the world where the Modest Medusa webcomic takes place, at least parts of the story of that webcomic. So if you are familiar with Modest Medusa, then you will be familiar with some of the locales, some of the NPCs, some of the characters that you will find in the Magical Land of Yeld. And if you're not familiar with that webcomic, certainly recommend check it out. It's a fun webcomic. So looks like we've got our credits page here. So let's make sure we give everybody the credit they deserve. Then we're going to get into the nitty gritty, talking about dice, making friends, fights, the story guide, the Magical Land of Yeld, world mechanics, the job guide, the stuff guide, all the tables. Then we get into the Game Master's Guide, the Monster Guide, the Vampire Prince Dragul, and the Hunters of Yeld, and the end. So when the characters find themselves in Yeld, they are young kids. And if I remember correctly, I think if they're in the land of Yeld when they turn 13, then they are going to be trapped in Yeld and they become monsters, if memory serves. Now, one thing I thought was pretty interesting was how the mechanics of the game are presented as like a comics page. I like that. I thought that was pretty cool. And the artwork throughout the first edition was really cool. Really enjoyed it. Now we're going to take a look at the various different friends. So these are sort of your archetypes. So we got the big sister or big brother, the rival, the bully, the princess, the baby, the know-it-all, the liar, the brat, and the dog. Although, strangely enough, you can't play as a cat. I don't remember that you could play as a cat. So you've got your core dice. So we've got strong, tough, smart, and brave. And this uses 6-sided dice. If memory serves, and we'll find out, we'll take a look. But if memory serves, I think you have a target number that you need to meet or exceed. And with the attribute scores, that's how many dice you get to roll. So you also get a special die. Choose a home item, choose a name, and pretty much done. Talking about using a wheelchair in your Yeld adventures. Another aspect of the Magical Land of Yeld, which I thought really stood out, is just how welcoming to all players this role playing game is. It really does a very nice job of being a welcoming sort of game to anybody and everybody. Certainly like that quite a lot. So we're going to get a breakdown of who are the friends. So these are the characters that you'll see throughout the book. The action board, which I think that's what this is. We're going to take a peek at this last. I think this is an action board. I don't think this is a game master screen. So we'll take a peek at that when we're done taking a peek at the game. So with combat, you do have a grid-based system for movement and combat. So keep that in mind. So there is a little more tactical depth to the Magical Land of Yeld than other role-playing games that are strongly skewed towards storytelling. So that is an interesting aspect of this. So we also have different information about combat using magic, our line of sight. All of this very easily grasped. I think what is going on with this second edition is that it's presented with a lot more depth in the background. So here we can see we've got mentors. It's like we get a bit of information about the setting itself here, which would be player facing. And just because the player characters are kids and this is an all age fantasy role playing game, do not think for a moment that this is a kiddie game, because it is not. There are some pretty big bads in this, and this is a world that's got some darkness to it. Remember, keep in mind, if the kids can't make it back to our world by the time, there you go, when they turn 13, I thought I remembered that, they'll be trapped in Yeld forever as monsters. So we've got holidays, different services. Here's our job guide. The Black Mage. So these are kind of our classes. The Freelancer, the Shepherd. Something else that I was really impressed by the first edition of the Magical Land of Yeld is just how much content there was for it. There was always stuff coming out. And I thought, wow, that was really, really cool, because the reality is there were more releases for the Magical Land of Yeld than a lot of other role-playing games from big publishers out there. So I thought that was very impressive. So this is not just, oh, here's a core rule book and we're done. I would certainly think that the folks over at Atarashi Games are going to continue to support the Magical Land of Yeld. We got the tax collector. So the dog is the tax collector, the junk hound. It does look as if we have more jobs. And you don't have to stay with one job. You can change jobs as the adventures continue on. But as you can see, lots going on here. Hunter in Darkness, Werewolf, the Black Casket, the Vampire. Wow. Talking about special dice, good and evil special dice, mastery special dice, black magic subtype. So, yes, I can see that in this edition, there is a lot more depth. Not to say that there wasn't a lot of depth in the first edition, but there is quite a bit that may have actually been in supplemental material that came out for the first edition. So here we've got our different spells. Goat magic. Then we get into weapons and weapon types. And look at that. We're actually getting some artwork so that you can tell, okay, so what do these weapons look like? Very cool. I like that quite a bit. Rank 0 home items, squeaky toy, confiscated nunchucks. So we've got different ranks for the weapons. I think we've got 3. Rank 1, 2, 3. Well, we had rank 0 too. We're just household items. Look at this. We get different magic items, the fairy crossbow, the spring-loaded bow, the broom of curiosity, and we get artwork for each one. Very nice, or at least most of them, I guess we'll say. Once again, I am impressed by what the folks from Atarashi Games have put together. This is looking like a lot of fun and loads of detail. Looks like these are different merchants. They're obviously special items. Elixir of the Gods. This special potion is served in a golden chalice by Prince Dragul himself to the winner of the annual Black Opera. Permanently gain 1 core die of your choice. Extra benefits. You must successfully defend your title at the next year's Black Opera or lose a core die permanently. And it can be earned by winning the Black Opera tournament. All the tables. So here we've got loot table, treasure table, heroic treasure, magical disasters, universal goat profile. If your friend becomes a goat, here's our Game Master's Guide. And something I remember that I thought was kind of interesting was how it's recommended that everybody takes a turn being the game master. So that'd be kind of cool, right? Wouldn't have somebody just be the forever game master like I am. Here's our monster guide. Creating a monster. So we should be getting into a bestiary. So it looks like these are all the special abilities. There we go. Here's our bestiary. Nervous sheep. Spider judge. The spelling bee. The root god. Prime slime. Fairy champion. Goblin hit squad. And then we'll start getting into the land itself, the world, the history. I was really, really knocked out by everything that was in that first edition, talking about the Vampire Prince, adventuring, a lot of backstory that was involved. And it looks like we're going to get the same here in this second edition. But as you can see, for just being a few people working together, yes, okay, granted, one of them is a cartoonist, but still, this is really nicely done. Of course, I will have a review of the second edition of the Magical Land of Yeld in the very near future. Looks like these are adventure hooks or important NPCs. Maybe, I guess maybe they are. No, this is a story here. So it is an adventure. That's okay. We're just flipping right on through here. So this is, of course, a role-playing game that is scene-based. So here we see we've got an adventure map, starting scene, story scenes. There's a big boss fight here, and what's going to take place at the end after that. So it does look like we've got a few adventures in here to get everybody started. Here's all the acknowledgments. And of course, this did kickstart not too long ago. Got our character sheets, our different seasons, an index, and some of the new expansions. There's a Patreon. Follow Yeld Online. Sweet. So that's a look inside the second edition of the Magical Land of Yeld. All right, let's see. There we go. Like I said, I think this is the battle board. I think that's what this is. And it is. There you go. And of course, you can print one up. You don't necessarily have to pick this up. But got to say, this is really nice. Nice, thick board here. Sweet. Very nice. So that is the battle board for the second edition of the Magical Land of Yeld. As I mentioned, I will have a review of this second edition in the not too distant future. So stay tuned. All right, that is it for this time out. If you like this video, by all means, please give it a quick thumbs up. Subscribe to the Gaming Gang channel if you haven't already. And if you do subscribe, don't forget, ring that bell. It'll not only let you know when I share videos such as this first look, it'll also inform you when my live stream, the Gaming Gang Dispatch, airs Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday evenings right here on YouTube at 7 p.m. Central. Of course, when you're not watching videos on the Gaming Gang channel, be sure to visit thegaminggang.com for all latest in tabletop gaming news, reviews, and a whole lot more you are not going to find here on YouTube. You know the drill. Get your geek on at thegaminggang.com. Once again, I'm Jeff McAleer. Thank you very much for watching. And until I see you next time, I certainly hope all of you get to enjoy plenty of great gaming with your gang.